Fox News Alert now. One of the headlines of the morning happened at 8:30 Eastern Time. President Obama saying that Iran is hiding a nuclear program from the world and has violated international inspectors on 3 occasions. This is file videotape for the controversial plant in Natanz in Iran. And now the International Atomic Energy Agency, that's the nuclear watchdog for the UN, saying they've been notified about another uranium enrichment site in Iran, one reportedly capable of housing the tools to build a nuclear bomb. Some experts say Israel could be ready for a tactical airstrike. Back with us live today out of Tel Aviv, the former Israeli Ambassador to the UN, Dan Gillerman. What did you make of the announcement with President Obama, the leader from Britain, and the leader from France in front of the microphone today with that strong statement against Tehran, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, good morning, Bill. It's good to be with you. I was very impressed by this gallery of world leaders led by President Obama, President Sarkozy, and Prime Minister Gordon Brown, making very, very tough statements about Iran. But these leaders have talked the talk. Now they have to walk the walk. And the big question is, will they? And another question is, does Iran really believe they will? Because as we've just seen this morning, Iran has been fooling the world, lulling the world for years with talks and with lies. And once the world finds out, there are these warnings. But the question is, what will happen after that? And I believe that Iran has to understand, and those world leaders, and first and foremost President Obama, has to make it very clear to them that the party is over, that the world will not stand anymore for Iran fooling the world, lying to the world. The world has gone through that process with North Korea and woken up with a nuclear rogue regime. There's a huge difference between North Korea and Iran. North Korea attained nuclear weapons out of desperation. Iran is seeking them out of aspiration, and it's never, never should it be allowed to achieve them and to attain them.
2 things on this. First of all, what do you expect from the United States, France, Britain, and Germany?
I expect that next Thursday, October 1st, when they sit together opposite the Iranians, they say to them, the game is over. No more lies, no more playing for time. We will not allow you to attain nuclear weapons. Either you come clean or we impose very, very tough sanctions on you. We go back the next day to the Security Council and impose sanctions. And if those sanctions don't work, and don't work quickly, every other option is on the table, including a military option, because the world we live in is ugly enough, horrible enough, and dangerous enough without a nuclear one, which will make it just impossible to live in.
We talked about this 2 days ago, Mr. Ambassador. Is Israel ready to strike? Is Israel closer to a strike after this announcement today?
I think Israel is always close to a strike because Israel cannot afford to be asleep and cannot afford to just take things as they are. Our army, our air force are dealing with this problem professionally with the greatest expertise and the greatest sophistication available. And as I told you 2 days ago, Bill, I mean, taking words from your president, yes, we can. And if absolutely necessary, and if all other options are exhausted, yes, we will. Israel cannot live with a nuclear Iran. The world at large, as our Prime Minister said so eloquently at the General Assembly of the UN only yesterday, cannot live with a nuclear Iran. It's the international community that must take the lead. But if nobody else does, we cannot afford to let this happen, and we won't.
Theoretically speaking now, of course, if Israel carries out a strike on Iran, is Israel ready for the fallout? Hezbollah comes back from Lebanon, maybe Hamas fires up in the Gaza Strip. Are you ready for that?
Unfortunately, Bill, living in Israel, we're always ready. We never know what the next day will bring. We want peace. We strive for peace. We've made very, very far-reaching concessions and steps towards peace, but we are surrounded by terror organizations who are nothing but the bloody tentacles and the long arms of those twisted minds in Tehran. And I'm sure that if a military strike against Iran is actually carried out, It will not be easy. It will not be simple. It is not Iraq in 1981 where we took out the nuclear reactor in East Iraq. The whole world condemned us, and then very soon after that applauded us, because just imagine if Saddam Hussein had nuclear capability. Iran is a totally different story. These sites are very spread out. Some of them are in very densely populated areas. We know how difficult it is. We know it is complex. We know it will take very great sophistication to do it, and may have very, very grave consequences. But the consequence of living with a world in which Iran has a nuclear weapon, led by a mad, lunatic, ranting president who denies the Holocaust while preparing the next one, is a far more dangerous proposition. And we must not, and the world must not, allow this to happen. And therefore, I'm glad about that meeting and that statement coming out of Pittsburgh today, and I hope it was heard very loud and very clear also in Tehran. Again, I stress, I hope diplomatic efforts will succeed, but if not, all other options must be on the table, and they are.
Dan Gillerman, thank you for your time from Tel Aviv.